Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Monday morning miracle call. And we are very happy to see your beautiful, bright, shining faces on this Monday, April 13th, 2026. So, my name is Michelle Niels, and I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I am one of four hostesses, and we have a couple of them on the call today. So, you might be hearing from them with some shares. So, these Monday morning calls are all about the patches and our love of these wonderful patches. And now we have a water machine. So maybe in the second half, if people have stories about the X2O water, we can talk about that as well. So, just some housekeeping rules. So, the first 15 minutes of these calls is dedicated to the X39 and Celergize. Okay, you can share Celergize stories as well. But as we all know, the X39 is the star of the show. And we start with that patch, we stay with that patch. And there are hundreds and hundreds of stories that we've heard that many people just do X39. Maybe it's an affordability thing, and that is the patch that rules them all. So let's talk about X39 first, or the Celergize. And also, very important, the LifeWave products and our company does not claim to diagnose, prevent, or treat any diseases or disease conditions. So please, please limit your share to just describing symptoms. Okay, we're not going to name disease names here. So, and then keep your shares to 30 seconds to a minute. Although in the beginning, because people are shy, you can talk a little longer because it's usually a little quiet the first 5, 10 minutes. But yeah, so the first 15 minutes, X39 Celergize, and then we'll shift to the other patches. So we've got some hands going up, and I had asked Darlene before the call started to please share her plant story. So take it away, Darlene.
Okay, so this plant was down to two crispy leaves, and my daughter thought it was going to be completely dead, sent it home with me, and said, please revive it. So I was worried that it was pretty far gone, but I laid three used X39 patches right on top of the soil. And lo and behold, that plant came back.
Right on top of the soil.
Yep.
And just curious, Darlene, how long did you leave the patches there?
I would change them every couple of days, and it probably had
Oh,
patches on for at least 2 weeks,
okay.
but it started coming back pretty quick.
Okay. There you go, people. If anyone says, I think it's a placebo, and say, well, do plants have a placebo effect or animals? Maybe we'll have some animal stories too. Thank you, Darlene. That was a great
You're
start.
welcome.
All right, Jerry.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Michelle. I
Hi.
have several customer stories, and the couple that I have with X39 is there is a condition out there that's caused by the same virus that gives you chickenpox in life. I think y'all can figure out what that is. And you have scarring on your skin. And one of my customers had scarring the size of his hand across his stomach. And not so long after using X39, the size of the scarring is about the size of his fingertip. So it's taken the scarring down. And both he and his wife, who are customers, they're very, very, very big into working out and strength and all this thing. And their stamina has really, really, really increased. So, you know, get going with the X39 people. And great, we have three more hands up and keep them coming up. Thanks,
Thanks.
Michelle.
Thanks, Jerry. All right, Shannon, go ahead and unmute.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be on the call this morning. So, I tell you, I've shared in the past some incredible results I've had from using X39 in regards to hiking mountains or whatever. But I have an annual tradition where I'll hike Camelback Mountain, which is part of Phoenix, Arizona. And this year I decided to go with my 27-year-old son. And I should back up and say the 2 days prior, I was hiking the Grand Canyon, up and down the canyons of Sedona, and then we decided to do the entire mount, which is over a 2,000 foot elevation climb, as well as coming down the other side. And it was unbelievable to me that I had absolutely zero pain in my knees, my hips, my back, total energy. It was so much fun. And of course, I've got to take pictures and I post them on social media, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you look so much younger. What are you doing?" So I've been sharing, with friends all over the United States what I'm doing, and it's the X39 and getting people, curious about what we have to offer through X39 and all of our LifeWave patches. So I had to share that this morning. 61 years old next or in June, and I'm still climbing that mountain that I've been climbing every year since I was a little kid. So go
Oh,
X39.
yay. Love it, Shannon. Thank you.
Well,
Perfect. So exciting. Yep. And I grew up in Phoenix too. Shannon and I both did. So yay. All right. So Susan.
Good morning. That is so awesome to hear, Shannon. Wow. I've got a couple of testimonies. I'll go as quick as I can. One of my brand partners, dad's a doctor. He's using the patch X39, and the tingling in his hands and feet has stopped. He's been on about 4 months right now, and that's super exciting. A friend of mine who has low back pain that's connected to some GI issue, she had that starting
hey,
quite
Micah.
young, and she put the X39 on her back and no more pain. And I've got a plant story too because I didn't repot this plant. I separated it into two plants, and it was just looking so bad. And that was exactly a month ago. And you can see I put my used X39s on there, and this is that plant today.
Oh my
Woohoo!
gosh. That's a good one for social media. I think people would be blown away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, Susan.
I
Thank
think
you.
it's a good picture of what's going on inside us.
Exactly. If it's doing this to the plant, what's happening inside of our body? Yay. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Okay, Ravel, welcome.
Thank you for hosting today, Michelle. I see two other hosts are here today as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Just really quickly, I was one of the ones using X39. I did feel a shift right away. But what was even more alarming were the changes I experienced at year 1, year 2, year 3. And I won't get into it because the first year and second year, because it'll sound like a medical claim. But I will say that at about year 5, 4.5 or 5, I noticed that the stretch marks I had on my hips and legs that I had had since teenage years because of fluctuating weight were suddenly disappearing and are now gone. I mean,
Oh my God.
so to show that it's as mentioned here, it's a consistency and sticking with it. Thank you.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Ravel. Yeah, the scar tissue is a big thing. Dr. Amy LaShawn, she's one of our docs on Doc Talk, and she's an anesthesiologist. And she shared that what she's experienced is that a lot of people, after they've had some type of abdominal surgery, if the scar tissue is not healed, they can end up with adhesions. That's where, like, the intestine or the innards of the abdominal cavity start to stick together. So she said that's just one of those benefits of the X39 consistent use of dissolving, or remodeling the scar tissue and softening it. So great share, Ravel. Yeah. Okay, Jerry, and then Jana.
I don't want to seem like a broken record, but we have 143 people on here. So I am saving my co-host here, but
Thank you, Jerry. Let's get those hands up, 142 other people. Come on. Come on. We know we have stories.
all of you people on here make this call up. And I know there's a lot of good stories on there. So please share them because what you might say may help somebody. But I am the fur baby person. Sorry. And this story amazed me when I first started. I was at a meeting. Excuse me. I don't know. X2O might help that. Anyway, the guy's dog had eaten some rat poisoning that the neighbor put around the house. And they took him to the vet, and the vet said he couldn't do anything with him and that he didn't have the time to let him go to that Rainbow Bridge yet, but if he could bring him back later at night, even like 10 o'clock, that would be okay because he'll stay. Well, the guy went home, was beside himself because his furry friend was his best friend. And he went home and he took an X39. He says, why not? And the dog recovered. In a few hours, he was up playing. In a little more hours, he was even better. And then he got a call a little bit later from the doctor, and he says, well, aren't you bringing the dog in? He says, most amazing thing has just happened. I put this patch on my dog, and he is back with me. I am so thankful. So never, never, never underestimate the power of our X39.
Oh, that's a goosebump story, Jerry. And then just for new people, if there are new people who don't, I might be wondering, where do you put a patch on a furry animal? So would you
Yeah.
share that, Jerry? Where do you put the patch?
Sure. And there are a couple places. I've used them on my dogs, has fabulous results. But those of you that wear a collar, just put it on the inside of the collar. And then even if you're using a used one, so it's not as sticky. Well, once you get it there with against the body, it's not going to lose it. A lot of people wear bandanas on their dogs, so you can put it on the bandana. I did something to one of my dogs, which I shouldn't have, and I thought it was going to help him, and put it under the belly because it wasn't sticking to the fur, and it wouldn't come off. And I finally had to do tough love. And when I ripped it off, my dog's eyes were like,
Oh no.
so don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. And
But-
and I have found sometimes with a used patch, it doesn't stick super well on the inside of the collar. So I just use a Band-Aid or
Right.
a piece of tape of
tape
some
it.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with cats usually are really still during the night and stuff like that. You can put it on their beds or where they lay and stuff like that, even the dog. But they do get so many benefits from the patches.
Yes.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, we have Jonna and then Gary. Can you unmute, Jonna? Still not.
I'm
There you
sorry.
go. There you
I
go.
thought I did, but it popped up again. Okay. I have a boyfriend who's very skeptical, and a few people have tried to get him on the patches, and he said he never noticed anything. And so he mentioned that he had had appendicitis and they had to do surgery 3 years ago. And ever since, he's had pain there. And the doctors have said, oh, we can open you up again and try to figure out what's going on. And he didn't want to get opened up again. So I convinced him to put an X39 patch in that area. And the pain went away almost immediately. And he's been wearing it ever since just to make sure. But it must have done something instantly to that scar tissue because he doesn't have the pain anymore.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Someone asked in the chat, Jada said, Michelle, should X39 be worn under the navel for scar tissue in the stomach due to several surgeries? It doesn't have to be worn on under the navel. It can be worn on the back of the neck or anywhere since the patch works systemically. But I'm sometimes a little superstitious, and so if I have an issue, I do sometimes, and a lot of us do put the patch right there. So that's fine too. Okay, Gary and then Tim or Helen. Okay, Gary, go ahead and unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're on now.
Okay. So I have two, if that's okay. Since Jerry mentioned the fur babies, I had a little Chihuahua that, well, three, and they got exposed to Roundup because the previous owner sprayed and I didn't know it. And so the two, the mother and the other little girl, both passed from tumors like they would from Roundup. The little girl, the runt, manifested the poison by itchy skin on her forearm and breathing and swallowing problems. But I started her on the patches, and she was overweight and had gray hair on her face. And within a few months, she trimmed down and the gray hair went away. So I was really amazed. And she's lived an extra 4 years past the others, even though she was the little runt. And so I love that, because so many of my friends are into natural things and open-minded, but when it comes to the patches, they just can't abide by it or can't wrap their brain around it because they think it's a placebo. So I said, that's been a great thing to be able to explain to them. Well, how do you explain that? Because she was a little doggy. So that's been that's been a neat way to a little bit of sideways science, maybe. So
Yay.
that's the one. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So the other one, I've said it before, but I lived at a place where I had a wood stove. The last time I filled my wood stove, I got a big armload of wood and found a patch of snow on the way into the house and went down on my left hip. And as we know, every decade that we age, it's a little more interesting to recover. And so it hurt. I had a shock feeling from my waist out to my right fingers on my right hand because my spine was twisted, obviously. So I ambled into the house, and we have a Tylenol and ibuprofen mentality, where we wait to see how much pain there is so we know how many to take.
Oh, no.
So I had that. Well, I felt that way and was waiting to see. And I said, "Well, you silly goose, you have these patches." And it was pretty new to the patches. So I had one on my neck already, thank goodness. And I put one right on my left hip. And it just blew me away. I believe in them. I'm a hippie at heart, but it still just freaks me out every time these things work because they're so fast and
I know.
amazing. And
And
yeah,
much faster and obviously safer than ibuprofen or
yeah.
Tylenol or things. It's like, it's
Yes.
crazy how fast they work. Yeah.
Oh, so the pain went away within 5 minutes, and 90% of it, and I could walk normal. And I tried to recreate that shooting pain, and it was gone. So I'm really thankful, and
Beautiful.
that's my story, and I'm literally sticking to it.
Thank you, Gary. Wonderful.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yay. Okay. Tim and or Helen, and we're past the 15-minute mark. So if anyone wants to bring in other patches, we can do that. So
It's Tim, and I've got to say, we have our new water machine, and it works beautifully. And I have had migraines for a very long time, and they are reduced drastically. I don't know. It has to be the water because that's the new thing.
that's the new thing.
I got on because Michelle said she might need some help with stories, and Gary was telling his doggy story. I have a fish story.
I love this one.
If
Go
you've
for
ever
it.
had a fish tank, you
Mhm.
see this fish and he's swimming sideways and he's floating sideways and then he sinks to the bottom. And we stuck a 39 on the corner of the tank where the fish was. And I thought, well, yeah, sure. And looked back a while later and the fish is up swimming around as though nothing had happened to it. So
It is a fish story. That's going to make people's jaws drop. But yeah, I remember, and I think I saw this. I think I'm one of your witnesses. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you, Tim. That's great. Okay, Jonathan, and then Karen.
Hey guys, I'm driving, so I won't put my camera on. But last night I told the story about my son, my 7-year-old son. He had jabbed the pencil into his hand, and after a day or so, it started getting infected. So I put a used X39 because I don't put a full one on him. I put a used X39 on his wrist of the hand, and took him to school. And when I picked him up, he had forgotten all about his hand because it was in throbbing pain. And guess what, guys? I was thinking to myself, you know what? And I told him, I said, you know what, son? I did the same thing. And I picked my hand up to look for the mark where the pencil used to be in my hand. It's no longer there.
Like father, like son. You're both jabbing your hands. I think you need to stop that.
Watch out. Watch out. I think I'm going to stop that. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Karen, and then Jerry, and then Danielle, and then we'll probably end with Stacy, unless we have time. We have about 10 minutes left. So go ahead, Karen.
Hi, good morning. I'm going to try to get two quick ones in.
No, it's okay. You don't have to go too fast.
Okay.
We're
The
good.
first one, when I started doing this, I told my cousin, who is exactly 1 day older than me. I don't know the hours exactly, but she was born on, anyway. So when I first told her about the patches, and this is kind of what she told me. She said, when you first told me, I just thought it was a bunch of scam stuff. And she said, and then I saw your pictures on Facebook and you were looking so good. And I thought, oh, she's just using filters. And then I went and visited her and she said, oh my God. And because she was 1 day older than me, she could hardly get up off the couch. She probably looked 20 years older than me. And guess who's using the patches now after like 6 years? Took me a long time to visit her.
Yay.
Anyway, and the other one, I didn't have enough X39, but I had a friend, we had several friends who came over and we were doing a little singing session and having a good time. But one of our friends had a bee sting right between her fingers, and it was a bumblebee. It happened the day before. Her hand was horribly swollen. Her arm was swollen all the way up to really, really bad. And I said, can I patch you? And she said, sure. So I put an Eon on her, and right about here. And then we were there singing and goofing off and stuff. And in a couple hours, she said, oh my gosh, her arm was about half the size it had been. Her hand was going down a little bit. Well, by the time she left an hour or so later, her arm was almost completely down. And then the next morning, which was yesterday morning, she talked to me and she said, oh my gosh, my hand is so good. She said that it's amazing. And she's going to become a customer.
Yay. Beautiful. Keep them with you guys. I mean, keep those patches with you. You never know who you might be able to help. Right?
Yeah, and don't worry if it takes your family a little while to figure out that it's really a real thing.
A real thing. Absolutely. Thank you, Karen. Looking beautiful, my dear. All right, Jerry.
Okay, I have two quick things. One is another customer. This is a different product. She started to use the Alavita skin products, and she loves them. At first, she was very skeptical because, the daytime cream is kind of, runny, so to speak. But she started to use the patch, and she's put it on the face, which she had a sunspot that she was always quite, didn't like it there and wanted to get rid of it. And she says it faded and it has almost disappeared. She is so happy, so very happy.
She used the Alavita patch on that?
Alavita. Okay. And then she uses the other products.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's really quick because just think about this. I have an area where there's a bunch of customers. And one of the customers had sent me a text. She says, you have to hear this because we were talking about something. They play Mahjong, okay? And they're playing their game. And the one lady was sitting there and her back was hurting. So the hostess went back to the bathroom, came back, says, what do you want? She brought an Excedrin. She brought an X39. And the lady chose the X39. So, all the people we could be helping, spread the joy.
Spread the joy, spread the light. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Danielle, then Stacy, then Janet.
Good morning. Thanks for hosting. Appreciate it. I've been noticing the vein thing that somebody mentioned. So I just wanted to agree with that. And I noticed yesterday that they were actually disappearing, and I've had them for years in this one little spot by my knee. But it was a friend's next door neighbor changing to father has a condition I can't mention, pretty critical. Really critical. So we can't use the X39, but he has numbness in his feet. And so when he came to visit from Tennessee, they kind of rejected it last time. And this time he got here and he said, I was wondering if you could put that patch on my feet. So I put Eon on both of his feet, and he absolutely had a change. And before he left, they said, we'd really love to get these. And so it was just a nice thing to see somebody come around, especially when they're in a scary time.
How long did it take, Danielle? How many days?
It only took, once he started putting it on, it was right away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the first time around, they didn't want to admit it. They just couldn't figure out how it could just be light or how it could be frequency. And they were scared because of the drugs and any kind of contraindication, which there wasn't. So anyway, I think it was just really, heartfelt that this person who is at risk, great risk, still was reaching out to do whatever he could with the patches. So that was wonderful.
Nice. Thank you, Danielle. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, Stacy. Hi.
Good morning. Last week I had the dishwasher door down because I was emptying the dishwasher. For some reason, I was finished. For some reason, I did not pick it back up. So I was walking around it, so I thought, but my left foot, my leg hit it right above like the ankle, the outside of the ankle. Immediate pain, like a 10. I looked down and it was red and it was starting to swell. So I went to the restroom and I got an Eon and a glutathione on. Immediately put both of them on, and within seconds the pain was gone. Swelling went down, and I never had any bruising.
We got to stop with these dishwasher open thing. I hear so many people banging their shins and their ankles into an open dishwasher door, but I'm glad we have the patches in these cases, right? Thanks,
Yes.
Stacey. All right. Okay, Janet.
I'm driving, so I apologize for not having my camera on.
That's
I
okay.
think we have all had people ask us, like, okay, I'm going to start wearing these. Do I have to wear these forever? Or,
Yeah.
what's the time that you have to wear them? Well, part of my story is I had all kinds of things change rapidly. But the one thing I really wanted to change, I had 30 plus years of chronic nerve pain in my arms and legs out of Desert Storm from all the things that were injected into us and we inhaled. And it took 7 months. So if I had stopped at 6 months when all the other things were gone and I felt wonderful comparatively, except for that, then if I hadn't kept on them, then I never would have got rid of that nerve pain. So that's just really a reminder that why would you not want to stay on these and have your bad cells get replaced with good cells and reverse your aging process? My metabolic age is mid-30s and I'm 67.
What? Oh my gosh, Janet. Okay, I have a question. I'm sure other people. Yes, she said nerve pain. Emily asked in the chat. So, where do you get that test to test your biological age, and how much does it cost? How do you do that?
I cheat. You can go get a test. It's expensive.
You're a
So
nurse,
there are,
right,
there
Janet?
I'm a nurse, advanced nurse practitioner that did anesthesia.
Okay.
You can buy actually scales that will do a specific, takes all the measurements in there and makes a formulation that gives you your metabolic age. I won't say it's going to be as accurate as getting a blood test, but I'm looking for a trend. So I started in my 50s on this scale, and I'd already been on the patches for over 7 months when I started, and I've gone down to 35 in the last 3 years. So the proof is in it decreasing. And
Yes,
I don't think, I
exactly.
don't know that it'll decrease anymore, but if your metabolic age is less than your age, then your longevity should be greater. So the more young your metabolic age, the more your longevity is supposed to be improved. So I just go by that. So why would I ever want to stop these is my point to all
That's
this.
my point too. I know. Gosh, we have such a treasure in our hands. Thank you, Janet. That was wonderful. Well,
Thank you.
we have actually a couple more minutes. I don't know if Lavelle is still on, but he has some great stories. I don't know if Lavelle, if you're available, if you want to jump on while we're waiting, if he does show up. I am going to share about my mother. My mother is going to be 87 the end of this month. I'm going to go visit her in Phoenix. And she is probably my greatest customer. She is talking about the patches everywhere she goes. And she credits them literally with saving her life. And she did have a diagnosis, that really scary diagnosis when she was 80. And someone also asked in the chat, what patches can you use if you're undergoing chemo? So my mom was undergoing chemo and radiation. And I actually had a conversation with Dr. Nicholas, and he said, don't do X39 until she's done, but all the other patches are fine. So when she was complete, she actually waited. She was kind of cautious. She didn't want to do any patches. So she waited. It was maybe a month or so. She finished treatment, and her recovery, and remember, 80 years old, her recovery was dramatic. She had wounds, and she had diarrhea, and she just had all kinds of issues. She was just not in a good way at all. And it was about a week of using just the X39. And she reached out to me and said, oh my goodness, my dear genius firstborn. She always calls me that. My genius firstborn. Thank you for sharing these patches with me. She said, I have my life back. I have my strength back. And her body was recovering very quickly. So all the patches, if someone is going through chemo, they can use pretty much everything. The glutathione might be a little strong, but definitely Eon and the other patches. And then when they're done with treatment, they can add the X39. So, all right, Jerry, let's finish with you.
Okay, sorry to keep putting my hand up, but you guys, come on.
People are just not participating here much, but thank you to everyone who did participate today.
But I'm going to back up.
Oh my gosh, now their hands are going up, and we're at the bottom of the hour.
Well, I'm just going to back up Stacy real quick. I know about that dishwasher. I've said it months ago, but my husband, I had it down, and he walked right into it with a shin, and it was tears automatically coming out, just like Stacy said. It was like, and I sent him to the bathroom, says, go get an Eon on, and before he could get back to the kitchen, pain was gone. Okay, next,
Beautiful.
Beth.
Okay, Beth, and we're going to end with you. We're at the bottom of the hour. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay, this one's a little shocking. I just noticed this last night, and I still keep looking in the mirror. I'm like, is this true? I've had I think the dentist calls it a geographic tongue. It's a symptom of another condition that my doctor had told me about that I choose to deal with naturally and not go on medications. So I was brushing my teeth last night and brushing my tongue, and I looked at my tongue and I'm like, now wait a second. It's not geographic. Because it's like Gottlieb, a geographic tongue is like has like different colors and bumps and things on it. And it's really kind of, you have to be careful when you're laughing, and it's just, I don't know, it's just embarrassing. So I looked at my tongue when I was brushing my tongue. I'm like, now wait a second, this looks like a regular tongue.
Wow.
I mean,
I've never heard that story before. I'm going to have to look that up. That's very interesting. That's huge, Beth. And how
it's
long
huge.
have
I've had this all my life.
all your life?
Yes.
And how long had you used the patch before you saw a change?
I've been on the patch for a little over a year, and I've been doing X39, and I sprinkle in other things. I'm still learning different things. But yeah, I sprinkle in some glutathione and the other ones. So I was just amazed. I mean, it looks like a regular tongue now. I mean,
Oh
I can still see little hints, but I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Oh, amen. Wow, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. And you said a year. So people need to hear this. Okay, we do say 1 month for every decade of your life minimum. We used to say 90-day minimum, but now I'm saying 1 month for every decade. But look at you. I mean, you're not, what would that be? 120? I mean, it took you a year, which is 12 months. And you just kept going. So the benefits accrue over time. We just have to remember that for our customers and our prospects when we share the patches. To just take time.
Yes, I'm so excited. And it's
Yay. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a
Thank
great
you.
share. All right. So I think, Liz, I believe Robin and Gregory are not on the call right now, but I'm guessing they will be tonight. We have our community call this evening, and that's at 6:00 Pacific, and that's at liveyoungerzoom.com every Monday evening. So thank you all. Thank everyone for being here. We unmute.
Can
the
we
line.
just remind people about the water call tonight?
Oh, yes, Beamy, go ahead, please. Say.
Jim is heading up the 4-week session, and tonight is Meredith talking about how to sell, and Jim, and how to deal with a high ticket item. So we want everybody, all brand partners, to be on so we get educated.
And what's the link for that, Beamy, for the water call?
Water from light. No.
No, it's be the light water.com.
Okay, be the light
water.com.
Okay, everybody, write that down. Be the light water.com. And that's an hour before our community call, right?
Right.
Correct. That's at 8 Pacific. No, 8
Eastern.
5 Pacific.
5 p.m.
Whatever
Pacific.
time zone you are in between those two.
Okay, 5 p.m. Pacific tonight. BeTheLightWater.com. All right,
Yes.
everybody.
Hey, Michelle.
Yay. And there's a password. Ravel just put it's X39. X39.
Capital S.
Capital X.
Capital
39.
S.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Michelle.
everybody.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Mimi.
Michelle.
Thank
you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for making the call.
Thank you, Michelle.
Good X39 day.
Have a good week, everybody.
Great
See you tonight.
Usual, great energy, Michelle.
Thank you, Gary.
Look
Have
beautiful.
a
Beautiful.
great day.
Bye,
Yay.
everyone. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Energy.